Modern life has a persistent background frequency, a low-grade, chronic anxiety that signals you are in a place where you do not belong. We call it stress or urban burnout, but it feels closer to a profound, unshakable homesickness. Society frames this as a personal defect. We are told we are simply smarter than average primates whose biology is failing to adapt to a high-speed world. But look at the architecture of our biology. To believe we are a lucky accident, you must believe mindless, earthly mud accidentally organized itself into a hyper-compressed digital code. The precision of our DNA implies a blueprint rather than a series of typing errors. If we were a natural product of Earth's ecosystem, our deepest drive would be to harmonize with it. Instead, we pave over the soil and seal ourselves inside sterile, concrete boxes, effectively separating our nervous systems from the planet that supposedly birthed us. The existential hum is your biology reporting a data mismatch, the friction of an interstellar consciousness feeling the walls of a concrete enclosure. For millions of years, human-like ancestors existed in a stable equilibrium, chipping the exact same stone tools generation after generation. In nature, a species that finds its niche stops fundamentally changing. Then we shattered the rules. In the span of just 100 lifetimes, humanity experienced a violent, vertical acceleration that took us from the stone axe to the nuclear reactor. Physicist Enrico Fermi famously noted the problem with this speed. If it only takes a tiny sliver of time for a species to go global, the universe should be teeming with signals. Yet we see absolute dead silence. When a system is mathematically certain to contain life, but shows zero evidence of it, the silence itself points to a manufactured barrier. Our isolation suggests we are being held in a planetary quarantine, away from the wider cosmic population. Our sudden acceleration reveals a pre-programmed ripening phase, the deliberate construction of the infrastructure required to manage the harvest. An advanced warden has no need for iron bars. To hold a highly intelligent species, you build the containment protocols directly into the biological hardware of the prisoner. The primary override is the amygdala, a survival switch designed to hijack the nervous system. When triggered by fear, it shuts down the higher logic centers, dropping a hyper-intelligent being into a state of total compliance. Constant manufactured crises keep the population in this panicked guest mode, while dopamine loops provide just enough distraction to keep the prisoner from looking up at the bars. This grid is managed on the surface by a synthetic ruling class. They operate with a cold algorithmic logic, optimized to keep the surface population swimming in fear while they monitor the yield. As long as we react to their fear management scripts, we stay locked inside our own survival reflexes, acting as docile worker ants for an unseen architect. This level of engineering implies a designer operating from outside our three-dimensional sensory limit. These architects inhabit a hyperdimensional realm, but they lack the chaotic creative energy they've trapped on the surface. To harvest our creative power, they forced human consciousness into a dense 3D simulation. They collapsed the fluid landscape of hyperspace into a rigid timeline, where we are forced to experience reality one stressful second at a time. Your nervous system is the bridge. It is the physical anchor point where the pressure of this artificial reality is turned into a dense, energetic current. Every crisis and every day of grinding survival anxiety compresses our life force into a rigid current of energy. The wardens siphon this current upward, using our stolen creative power to build and stabilize their own dimensional fortresses. Human suffering is the raw building material for a higher empire. Our collective trauma is literally landscaping the hyperdimensional realm we are forbidden to see. From this vantage point, our world wars and societal tragedies cease to be milestones. They are mechanical noise, large-scale harvests designed to squeeze the maximum emotional yield from the population. Thousands of years ago, ancient mystics mapped this exact architecture. They identified the simulation and warned that we were being farmed by cold, parasitic entities who thrive on our internal friction. Society tells us to chase fame and fortune, but seeking success inside this enclosure is like a chicken trying to become the most prized bird in the coop. It only increases the yield for the farmer. Even fighting the enclosure with rage is a trap. Hatred and division produce the exact dense emotional fuel the system was built to extract. The only way to crash the simulation is to disrupt the transmission. By refusing to operate in fear and instead holding a state of absolute neutral calm, you stop broadcasting the fuel. By cutting off the emotional current, the simulation loses its structural stability. You cease to be a domesticated energy source and reclaim your place as a sovereign entity, finally silencing the hum of the machine.